This video is all about how we can use special movements to actually put consciousness back into our body where we've lost it. It is phenomenally powerful and truly life-changing. So check it out. I think you're going to be amazed. I am Brent Michael Phillips. I am the founder and creator of the Awakening Dynamic System of Energy Healing and Higher Consciousness. And this is video number 7 in our series on Movement Feedback Holography. And this video is going to be a little different than the others because I'm going to be talking to you about the more advanced uses of movement. And this is what it comes down to. There's really 2 different ways to use movement, and they're both phenomenally useful and powerful. I think we should all do both, at least if you want to make more money, be healthy, find love, have an amazing life. It's really, really powerful stuff. The first way of using movement is to identify blockages in your energy based on the movement pattern. And that might be what you would call the more traditional movement feedback holography. And that's done the way we've talked about. You are doing a movement, maybe you're rollerblading, shaking your hands, scooping energy, and you have an expert facilitator giving you feedback, going, you're throwing it away, you're not bringing it in, you're dancing for your dinner, you're too cool for school, whatever the myth is. There's dozens, hundreds of them. And that's really powerful to clear the subconscious. But there's a completely separate way of using movement to do something that's equally important, to get the consciousness back into your body where you've lost it. And I'm going to explain this because that sounds a little weird. You're like, what do you mean, Brent? I didn't know I had consciousness or that I had lost it, right? I hear you. But before we get into the details of how that works, let me give you a few reasons you might want to stick with this, because I know it sounds a little abstract. Are you the kind of person that's always been able to get by, but you never really get ahead? Do you have a lot of talent, ability, dedication, focus, but you always tend to lose out? Often to people that don't have as much talent or ability, that don't work as hard. They just seem to get lucky. Have you been close to huge success in your life, only to have it slip away at the last second? If any of this describes you, you're in the right place. You are exactly the kind of person that I know how to help. And it sucks to be in that place because that was me not long ago. Almost nobody can help you. Almost none of the traditional energy healing, law of attraction, hypnosis, coaching, mind power is not going to make much of a difference for you because you've lost consciousness in your body. What the heck, right? Let me explain that a little more. One of the things that happens to us that screws up our lives is that we literally squeeze the consciousness out of our body. Let me give you a specific example. I would guess that almost every person watching this video, if I were to tell you, hold up your hand and move just your middle finger, not the others. I'm not saying flip anyone off. I'm just saying move it a little bit, right? You can probably do that, just a little bit. And if you're really careful, can you move it without moving the other fingers? Most of us can't. May not be a lot, but you can move that middle finger independently. Sure, try it right now. See if you can move your middle finger independently of the other fingers. I bet you can. So give it a shot. Now, go ahead and take off your shoes and socks. See if you can move your middle toe independent of the others. Good luck with that. Very few people can. So it's kind of weird. And you may go, oh, Brent, it's just because hands and feet are different. No, they're not. Anatomically, our hands and feet are nearly identical. They have the same muscles and bones and tendons, just they're a little longer or shorter in the foot of the hand. But it's the same anatomy, which actually makes sense because remember, we evolved from 4-legged creatures. We had 4-legged ancestors. So in our DNA, at some point, all of our feet and hands were all feet. So that makes sense. So anatomically, there is no reason at all why you can't move your toes the same way you move your fingers. But most of us have spent our whole lives wearing shoes and socks and walking around on artificial surfaces, carpet and hardwood and concrete and asphalt and such. And what's happened is you squeeze the consciousness out of your feet, so you cannot feel them anymore. That's exactly why it's really hard for you to move your fingers the way you move your toes. But here's what's crazy. If you go look at people that say grew up in a primitive technologically tribe in the Amazon or something, that they haven't been exposed to the modern world and all of our terrible food and bad habits, they got monkey toes. They can use their toes and feet just like they use their hands and fingers. Why? That's our natural state. But we squeezed it out. And this is so important because if you want to manifest, if you want to create big changes in your life, and I'm not talking make 10% more money, I'm talking make 1,000% more money. Find love, heal disease, achieve enlightenment, razor sharp intuition. You got to get the consciousness back in your body. Because there's 3 things we need to be a powerful manifester. Number 1, you must have a clear focus and your thinking must support your goal. That's pretty easy, right? If you want to be rich, you got to be clearly focused on the money you want and talk and think and behave in a way that's compatible with being wealthy. That is first gen stuff, first generation consciousness. So it's important. Have a goal, think positively, focus on where you want to be. That's important. Number 2, we have to clear the subconscious blocks. That's critical too. Now, I'm preaching to the choir here. I don't think you'd be watching this video if you didn't already know that. So the subconscious blocks are really huge. And for some people, just that, positive thinking, clear goal, clear the subconscious is enough. And that's exactly why the second gen consciousness technologies like Psych-K and maybe healing codes, emotion codes, my own formula for miracle system work really well. They clear your subconscious. But it's not always enough. Not for everything, not for every person. Especially with manifesting money and success. There's a third piece. And this is hugely important. And I'm so glad you're watching this because knowing this could be the point your life starts to change. It really is. I know it's a cliche, but this is a life changer. The third point is you have squeezed the consciousness out of your body and you can't feel it anymore. And you may go, who cares, Brent? So I can't feel my toes. Who cares? Here's why it matters. The amount of consciousness in your body determines how powerfully you're connected to the divine field. What me and my late mentor called the quantum field. It is this field of divine intelligence and energy that permeates the entire universe. And how lucky you are, whether or not things tend to break your way. Do the chips fall your way or some other way? Is entirely dependent not only on your blocks and beliefs in the subconscious, but also on how much consciousness is in your body. And if you've never heard this before, of course it sounds crazy. I thought it was crazy when I heard it, but it really works. So let me give you a metaphor to help understand this. Imagine that you got a tube of toothpaste. It's easy to squeeze out the toothpaste, isn't it? Of course. You squeeze it, put it on your toothbrush, you brush your teeth, life goes on. Repeat. But once you're out of toothpaste, it's really hard to get the rest of the toothpaste out, isn't it, right? You roll it up, you lay on it, you squeeze, maybe you have a little device. Why? The less toothpaste that's in there, the harder it is to access it. And it's really difficult to get the toothpaste back in the tube. How do you do that? Honestly, I think you need a machine. You can't just shove it back in. It won't go. And the reason I use this analogy is your life is like that. You have unknowingly and unconsciously squeezed the consciousness out of your body. There's not enough toothpaste left in your tube. So when you need to connect to the divine field, to manifest, to heal, to find love, there's nothing there. That's why you fail. That's exactly why earlier I said, are you the kind of person that gets really close to success, but everything falls apart? Do you work hard? Are you talented, focused, disciplined? But it just never clicks? This is why. This is why my life was such a mess. It wasn't just the subconscious blocks. It wasn't just the negative thinking. Those were problems too. But even after I addressed that, even after I learned to think positively and cleared thousands of blocks, I was still struggling because I didn't have consciousness in my body. I had squeezed it out. I can thank MIT for that. And basically drove me deep into my head and then put nails in the coffin so I could never get out. And there's only one way that's ever been discovered to put the consciousness back in, and it's movement. To give you a sense of how this works, let me give you an analogy that I think you'll love. Before we go there, let me just say, if you love this, if you want more, click like, click subscribe. Tell your friends, share this stuff. The more you share, the more you like and subscribe, the more videos I make. It's really that simple. And I would hope the better your life gets. And let me also ask a question of everyone. Have you ever used movement to manifest or heal? If you have, let us know in the comments. Now, the obvious one would be physical therapy, but I'm curious, have you ever done dance or yoga or Pilates or movement therapies, and did they help you heal? Let me know in the comments. I aim to answer every comment personally, me, not my assistant, me. Would love to hear from you. Awesome. So here's our second analogy / metaphor, and it's this. Imagine that you're in a spacesuit in outer space. There's no atmosphere around you. And imagine you start flailing your arms and kicking your legs. Will your movements have any effect on the environment around you? The answer is no. There is no environment around you. You're in outer space. It's a void. So if you flail your arms and kick your legs and do somersaults, you will move your body, but you'll have no effect beyond your spacesuit. Why? You're not connected to anything. You can do jumping jacks and burpees all day long in outer space. You will change nothing around you. All you're going to do is get tired and burn up your oxygen. So, opposite example, let's say you're in a swimming pool, a small swimming pool with a friend. If your friend starts doing laps, you're going to feel that. Why? His body is moving the water when he's swimming. And you're in the same water, so those waves come off from his body and hit yours. So his actions have an effect on the environment because he's connected to the water through his body. And when he moves the water. Very simple. That's what it's like to be connected into the quantum field. You take action and it creates a result. It makes a real change. When you're stuck in your mind, running a myth, living in your head, squeezing out the consciousness, when there's not enough toothpaste left in your tube, what's going to happen is you're going to get disconnected from this field. It's like being in outer space. You can bust your ass. You can work 100 hours a week. You can have 3 degrees. You can start 7 companies. If you're not connected to the quantum field, the divine flow, they will all fail. Things will go wrong. You will be unlucky. This is grace. This is presence. This is higher consciousness. And we can get the toothpaste back into the tube by doing movement. And I'm going to explain that in just a minute. First, let me give you a quick story about what happens when you're more in your body, when you get this energy back in where you've squeezed it out. My late mentor, Carl, I remember the first time I traveled with him. He was leading a retreat in Boston, and we both had the same flight, so we carpooled to the airport. We figured we might as well fly together. And so we went to the airport down at LAX, and we went to the gate to get in, and there was this giant security line. Oh my God. It was like 1,000 people. Crazy, right? And I'm going down the rabbit hole. Oh my God, we're going to miss our flight. This is a disaster, blah, 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 right? Carl's like, Brent, I understand, but let's not go there yet. We still got plenty of time. Let's see what happens. And so he wasn't worried at all. I'm there. Oh God, we're going to be late, miss our flight, right? Stupid line, stupid people going right down the rabbit hole. And less than 5 minutes later, a lady in a TSA uniform walks right up to Carl and says, excuse me, sir, if you'd like, I can take you and your party through the VIP check-in. And he was like, oh, that would be great. So she pulled us out of line, led us to the VIP check-in, and we were through in like a minute. So we're on the other side, and I assumed that Carl knew her, because that doesn't happen for no reason, right? I've never had a TSA person come up to me and say, excuse me, sir, can I help you skip the line? Never in my life. And I'm like, hey, Carl, how did you know her? Because I figured maybe she was a friend of one of his clients, or maybe she had seen him on TV or something like that. And he's like, oh no, Brent, I've never seen this woman in my life. But that kind of thing happens to me all the time. That's it. When we're connected into the field, things tend to break your way. You will be lucky. And it's really that simple. We got to get the toothpaste back in the tube. If you're not connected to the divine flow, you can exert enormous energy and nothing's going to change, except you'll be exhausted and frustrated. Does that sound like your life? It was mine. That's why I'm here with this message. I want to help you change that. So how do we change it? Well, there's a lot of ways. First, I would say, you got to come to one of my live events. You got to see this in motion, experience the quantum field entrainment, see the movement, understand it, see for yourself this is real. But beyond that, in my advanced trainings, I show people how to use movement to put the consciousness back into their bodies. And here's quite simply how it works. Do a movement and find where your body doesn't want to go. And that's how we get the consciousness back in. So as an example, we could do the wrist movement. It looks something like this, where you're moving your wrist. And I'm trying to move it very slowly and smoothly. That's the goal. This is not wrist moving, in case you're wondering, because I know most of you are doing this. No, that's not it. This is moving your hand. This is moving your wrist. Most people can't do that. I couldn't at first. What it'll look like for most people is this. You see how my wrist is ratcheting, it's jumping? The reason it does that is I can't feel that motion. I've lost the consciousness in my wrist. And when there's no toothpaste in the tube, it ratchets and jerks. It cannot move smoothly. So you can use the movement to find those spaces it won't go and really very slowly and carefully guide it into where it won't go. And it feels weird. It feels like you're going nuts, like you're going crazy. That's what it feels like when the toothpaste goes back in the tube. And for members of my Awakening Intensive, which is my highest level program that I've ever offered, that's patterned on my late mentor's intensive life training that helped me to triple my income, find love, start a family, heal my body, all this great stuff, is based on that. I tell them, if you're not doing movement on your own to get the toothpaste back in the tube, you're missing at least half the value of the program. And if you don't do it, your chances of seeing a big breakthrough are maybe 50-50 at best, maybe less. But if you learn this and practice it, that goes up closer to 90, 95, 100%. Everyone sees a big breakthrough. It's not always exactly what you were looking for, but it's often something better. So I hope this makes sense. This is advanced stuff. I have not found any other work anywhere on the planet at any price that's so powerful. It is weird. It's different. It has a steep learning curve. I really wish I could teach all this to you in a series of YouTube videos, but I can't. That would be dangerous. It would be like a brain surgeon showing people how to do brain surgery on YouTube, and then some yahoo who doesn't know better tries to do brain surgery on his cousin and kills him. No, you can learn something from the videos if you're already a brain surgeon, but please don't try to learn brain surgery from videos. You're probably going to kill someone. Now, you're not going to kill anyone with movement, but most likely, if you try to do it all on your own, maybe you'll succeed, but it's a steep learning curve. You'll probably do it wrong, get frustrated, and quit. But stick with it, get the proper training, you'll be amazed. Of course, this takes time to learn. It's hard, it's difficult, because it's so powerful. That's why it's hard. That's why you've never heard of it. But don't believe me. Come to a live event, work with me, see for yourself. You can't argue with results. That's all I got to say for today. And we will be back very soon with video number 8 of 9 in the series on movement feedback holography. Until then, please take care and namaste.